Time now to throw down to VB at our Beacon Hill studio with the heavy hitters this morning.
Yes, indeed, the heavy hitters are here. Cosmo Macero of O'Neill Associates, Peter Cadgis of the Boston Phoenix, and yes, we're talking food in relation to Whitey. You heard Bartley's Burgers has come up with the Whitey Burger, Cosmo, cheddar, bacon, and a little pineapple relish.
Sounds okay.
Well, in honor of that, give me a better Winter Hill-related burger that they ought to offer.
Or a Whitey-related burger?
Sure.
How about a Stippo burger, the Stippo Rakes burger? You buy it, you make it, I eat it.
See, that ain't bad. For once, you've come through.
What's got to go on it, though? You know, what goes on that?
We'll work on that. Peter, you got one for me?
I would say a Patriarcha burger. It would have capricola.
Always with the capricola.
Yeah, capricola, provolone, and marinara sauce.
I'm waiting for the punchline. It's not bad, but I'm waiting for a little something extra.
Food's
and even if it's terrible, you don't tell the man.
I don't joke about food.
You eat it with rubber lips, perhaps, along those lines. Let's talk about Whitey, Cosmo. You've heard the latest now. He's apparently talking, speaking of lips, loose lips. Says he traveled to Boston several times to take care of some unfinished business. He went to Vegas. He's been armed to the teeth in his travels. What are you making of all this?
I think the more he talks, the more interesting it becomes for all of us. But actually, the more pressure and the more pressure it puts on other people. His presence now is putting pressure on his family. The feds want them to pay for his defense. Talking about the fact that he's traveled puts pressure on people who may have assisted him. So I think the more he talks, the more uncomfortable it becomes.
Are you believing anything that he has said to this point?
You know, take it for what it's worth with a grain of salt. I got a kick out of his story about going to Vegas. Nobody wins at slot machines for the most. I mean,
right.
People win occasionally, but long term, it's not the game you play to win big money. But he says he won more than he lost.
Perhaps the Whitey Bulger burger should come with a grain of salt, is what you're telling me?
Maybe a couple of grains of salt.
Well, you can also go to Vegas to launder money. So I see. It depends on, as Bill Clinton would say, it depends on how you define win.
Yes.
There's no reason not to believe him. I mean, his coming back to Boston was long a matter of conjecture. I mean, the police, many years ago around Christmas time, all but said he had made a couple of visits, and he's just confirming that. Although most people who were new to Boston, this is all brand new to them. I mean, I have to say that this effort to get his brother, the former Senate president, to pay for his defense, I think is really outrageous. I think it's a big middle finger extended to the Senate president for not helping them catch his own brother. I mean,
which is fine, but you can't force the guy to pay.
Listen,
I mean, that's just not what it is.
Whitey's last known job, as far as I know, was pushing a broom, ironically, at the courthouse over there. The guy's
I think he had a couple other jobs.
Well, he's a career criminal.
He pulled a couple.
All of his gains are ill-gotten, so any money, the millions he has stashed around the country, is subject to forfeiture.
We're paying for his lawyer, and that's the way it's going to be. Let's talk about Michele Bachmann for a second. On to more serious news. She announced yesterday she's running in Waterloo, Iowa, and that got her into some trouble. But she's in a statistical dead heat with Mitt Romney in Iowa. Zogby has her actually leading the field to this point, Peter. We heard earlier in the week that she's a flake and she's not as... The gravitas issue is there, yet she's doing well in the polls. What do we make of Michele Bachmann?
Well, the John Wayne Gacy slip-up is not a great one. But what impresses me about Bachmann...
She's a clown.
And I must say that I disagree with most of what she says, is the fact that unlike Sarah Palin, she cleans up well. She clearly wants to make an impression. Now, whether she wins the nomination or not is up in the air. But I think she could well come out of this, if she doesn't win, with a really enhanced national reputation. She's doing her homework. She's portraying herself as a serious woman. And I think, talk of a Romney-Bachmann ticket, if that should survive the primaries, is not that crazy a thing.
Can she tell people enough times that she's serious and then we actually start to believe she's serious, Cosmo? Or is there something missing there?
I think there's something missing. I think this is sideshow politics. I don't find her having any more gravitas now than she did a month ago or before that. And these embarrassing slip-ups and mischaracterizations of pieces of history and popular culture, I think just goes to show that she's not really doing her homework, and she's not really thinking ahead of how a candidate ought to think. And if you can't think well on your feet, then you know what? You're not gonna make it as a presidential candidate.
Wouldn't you know whether a celebrity is from your hometown or not? How do you mess up whether John Wayne grew up in your hometown or not?
How do you mix up John Wayne with one of the most notorious serial killers, the killer clown in the history of America? I just,
Well, clearly, John Wayne Gacy was a Republican.
He has the famous picture with Rosalind Carter, so I don't think he was.
Yeah,
he was a
no, she could have been a target, a victim.
I don't think so. Quickly, speaking of targets, Rod Blagojevich finally convicted yesterday. We're told, Cosmo, that upon hearing the verdict, he turned to his lawyer and said, "What happened?" So I ask you, what happened?
If I was his lawyer, I would have said, "I guess you did it." I guess you did.
Yes.
What happens is their defense, which was, "Oh, he's just mouthing off. He's just a loudmouth. Don't listen to him," didn't really work because he was, as the feds put it, talking about a serial white-collar crime spree. Using the opportunity to fill the Obama Senate seat by selling that Senate seat and mouthing off about it. The defense that he was just mouthing off just wasn't good enough.
Quickly, Peter.
Yeah, let's not forget, impeachment proceedings were already underway before the Obama Senate seat for sale was up. I mean, he had ticked off a lot of people in his home state. I think, the guy's a pathological crook.
Having heard his wife on tape before, you can only imagine what she was saying when they got home last night. There was a few words deleted on that transcript, I have a feeling.
Yeah.
Peter Kagis, Cosmo Macero, off for the 4th. Enjoy the celebration and the festivities, boys. Enjoy that Stippo burger.
I can't wait.
They're the heavy hitters.